recording started. So if there is any question that you may have for today's class, you may raise it through the chat or just turn on your mic for us to be interacting in terms of solving your problems and for any of your questions. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully everyone can see my screen that is on financial accounting. This is where we're going to be learning about finance, and currently to tell you the truth, I don't have any background in terms of finance. Okay, there was something I learned. Maybe no, maybe a little. Who knows? Don't remember. But I'm guessing it's during my secondary school years where we learn a little bit of accounting during a subject called Kemahiran Hidup. But during Form 4 and Form 5, I don't take any accounting. I'm on science stream, so I don't have any. I cannot recall any fond history of me having to teach this subject here, that is finance. Okay, now, anyone here who is in the class who has experience or basically has knowledge or backgrounds in terms of doing, maybe they have experience in working experience in finance, or maybe they have taken subject that is on financing, maybe during secondary school, maybe during matriculation, depends. Just a quick response through the chat. Anyone here who has experience with finance? Wow, it's quite quiet. It's really quiet there inside the chat. It's either I'm talking to myself or basically the rest are doing something else at their PCs. I only see some reaction of leaving the meeting, no reaction in terms of anyone here has any backgrounds in terms of finance. Okay, so I'm going to assume that basically everyone don't have any. I'm just assuming because currently there is no response, so I'm just assuming that everyone is the same as I. So no experience in terms of financial knowledge, not in terms of SAP, but in terms of just general, the things that you may learn during secondary school. Okay, but in terms of here, it's not going to be that hard. We're going to be talking more on the topic of general ledger. Okay, this is where something, okay, if I can process this information on financial accounting for SAP, hopefully you can, because currently we are talking about the general recording of every single transaction that is happening inside the company GBI. That is what is going to be focused in terms of financial accounting for this case anyway. Now, before we're moving forward, just to make sure that everyone is clear that next week, okay, let me move this on the other side. You can access this from our is inside the grouping distribution. So basically you can use this to basically book your time slot for next week for the presentation. As explained yesterday during the lab session, for those of you who haven't joined, the information that is supposed to be presented during next week presentation session is until chapter 3. What is chapter 3, you may ask? For those of you unaware, you may refer to the marking scheme that was sent to you in WhatsApp, or you can refer to it inside our kalam. Okay, it's basically detail out every single items that you need to be putting inside your report. So basically there is the first part, that is the basic information regarding your report. That is, you need a blank page, you need some statement of confidentiality that you can copy paste, and also your company detail. company name, company contact, company address. Okay, sorry to the earlier section yesterday. Inside the inside the marking scheme criteria is being called students imaginary company, and it's true. Basically, maybe this is some misinformation that I given, because currently during the afternoons, during the 4 o'clock session for the next lab, basically, uh, it is something that you define on your own. Basically, is an imaginary company that you created. It's basically the approach for the final assessment is that you are a company, you are approaching your customer. uh, why do you approach them? Because there is a need to fix their business process. So yes, define your own company. Just define a company name. Okay, currently here there is group ID A, B, C, D, E. So basically, don't use that. Just put in your company name, and also an imaginary address, and your imaginary email, imaginary phone number. So those are the 4 things that you must include. It's either you have it or not. Okay. Then you have chapter 1, that is the executive summary. Executive summary about the report that you're supposed to be producing. And then chapter 2, that is the case company information. Okay. So do not, okay, I'm noticing some of you are already opening this file, so don't start yet. Don't book, okay, don't book the time slot yet. After I give the green light, then you can book the time slot. Not now, not yet. Okay, someone who is currently in purple highlight is currently, I'm guessing that is either Paul or Tan and Chan. Currently, is Jenny still inside the subject? Better check. Okay, please make sure all of you group member is still inside the group, because currently this week is the week for dropping subjects. So make sure if your group member are still the same. So just update on this part of the file. Oh my god, I forgot to turn on the mic. Oh. Okay, no worries. Not much important information during the earlier stages. But currently, if you want to refer to it, oh my god, no one is answering through the chat. Oh. Okay. So, so I've been talking to myself for the last 10 minutes, and no one is basically. Someone just now just mentioned that I'm and and that am I talking through the mic. Okay, no worries. Okay, so now for those of you who are okay, now currently I'm guessing you notice the screen is moving and there's no sound whatsoever. Okay, so please make sure please make sure you're opening you open the group distribution. Okay, what you need to do here is basically, okay, you notice there are basically time slots here. I'm highlighting it. Okay, I'm guessing you see this. Please book when you want to do your presentation. Okay, please discuss with your group members afterward. I'm going to give you around 10 minutes later at around 10:40, around there. So basically you can book when you want to do the presentation. Okay, first come first serve. Hopefully this is enough. This is enough in terms of catering for all the members. Okay, now this week, okay, this is the important part. Just now the mic was not turned on. Okay, now this week is the week for dropping. Am I correct? Or is it last week? It's already been closed. Last week. Okay. So Jenny, did she drop the subject? Okay. Okay, just confirm with her. I'm guessing that I'm noticing that there are a few names missing from the attendance list. So I'm guessing some already dropped from the subject. So please confirm back so that hopefully we can stick with this group here. Okay, now you can discuss on this. We will 10:40 is the start of the booking of time slot. So don't do it yet. Currently, even though it's already there inside the Google Sheet, please do not edit it yet. Okay. How come no one mentioned to me earlier that there is no audio whatsoever from the lecturer side? I blame you on this. Okay. Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. There's no audio whatsoever. The screen is moving, but no one. But you don't hear anything whatsoever from your side. Okay. Now, make sure for those of you who are unaware of what is happening, because currently the explanation was given during yesterday's session, during our lab session, is that you need to prepare everything that is from the first part of the marking criteria until the chapter 3 of the marking criteria. Okay. So basically, what you need to prepare for next week presentation session is basically the basic component of your report, that is the title page, the your statement of confidential confident con you know what I mean. Okay, the second part, and then the third item, that is your imaginary company information. Okay, this there has been a misinformation for the earlier section. Okay, now the student imaginary company is true, which means that the approach of the final assessment is basically you are a company, a consultancy company that is helping your customer in terms of improving their business processes through the knowledge of SAP. So that is how the final assessment really works. Okay, so basically the imaginary company, yes, you need to define that. You can basically put any company names, even though inside the Google Sheet, in terms of the group distribution, there is already mentioning on group ID A, B, C, D, E until the letter L. But currently, put your own company name, create your own company address, contact number, official email address. It can be anything. Hopefully there is no same company. Okay, no same company name, no same company address. Okay, so those are the things that you need to prepare. Chapter 1 is an executive summary of your report. Chapter 2 is the information related to the case company that you are interviewing. And then the third is basically the business process that the information related to the business process that you are responsible with, that in which you already interviewed your case company. If you interviewed a pet shop related to sales, so basically you need to talk about sales. Okay, in terms of chapter 3, there's going to be 4, which means that is chapter 3 for student 1, chapter 3 for student 2, chapter 3 for student 3, chapter 3 for student 4. Similar with chapter 2, if there are some of you who shared company, which means that we can do that. Okay, you can basically do that, because there are certain cases where two students are in UMP and they will need to interview a company that is around them. So that can also be done. Okay, if you are having 4 group members and then they are basically, let's say, one moment, I need to adjust one something. No, why is it? Okay, now much more. Okay, now if there are 4 group members and there are only 3 companies, 2 group members are sharing the same company, then you only need 3 company information inside your report. This will depend. So detail related to the information related to what you need to produce, and also the marking criterias for your presentation is here. This one is already being shared inside the column and also being shared inside the WhatsApp group. Now, prepare item 1, item 2, item 3, and item 4. Now, even though you prepare this earlier and you're going to be presenting it, marks is not yet finalized for those 3 items. During next week presentation, marks will only be given for number 7. That is for the presentation part. The presentation part is just to make sure that item number 3 here is enough for you to continue to the item number 4, that is improving that process that you already drawn in chapter 3. So that is what you need to prepare. Okay. Video regarding the explanation regarding this marking scheme will be given later. I'm going to be at I'm guessing there is something that I need to repair. I'm going to upload it later inside column. Okay. Now, if there is any question, please raise it through either the chat or you can use your microphone to ask any question. Okay. That part is done. This part is done. Now, the other part. Yesterday, I mentioned to you that the submission inside column for the lab exercise was quite low, and I'm noticing that some students mentioned that the submission was not open. Okay, why didn't anyone tell me related to this item? I don't remember. But I didn't really change the settings. So basically, here on out, all this part here that is submit on column, submit on column, submit on column again, submit on column, until the end of the final part of submitting column. Everything is open until the end of the semester, so you can submit it anytime. But it would be nicer if you submit everything earlier. Depends. But the next time I will be updating the marks for this lab exercise submission is during the study week or before the study week. Hopefully during the study week or during those 2 weeks. Just be prepared. Just submit it and you will get 10 marks. Okay. Now, settle on that. Now we can move on to the financial accounting chapter that we're supposed to be settling on today. Okay. Now, I'm on the other hand related to this this topic here. I don't have any. Maybe I have some background, but don't remember. Maybe during my earlier days, during secondary school, maybe during Form 3, between Form 1 and Form 3, maybe I learned something on financial, those general ledger, carry forward, those kind of stuff. But I don't have any memories of ever learning financial accounting. Okay, so this is going to be this is not going to be very hard. It's going to be on the topic of more on the general ledger of financial accounting. Maybe some of you in this class are more knowledgeable on this topic more than me. Okay, so anyone here who currently in this session, in this class, has any experience or have ever learned about financial, maybe during matriculation, maybe during here inside UMP, or maybe during your secondary school life? Okay, you may just comment inside the chat. I'm just doing a little bit of quick checkup whether does anyone here has any financial knowledge backgrounds. Okay, the chat is currently. Is my mic okay? Okay, some chats are started to enter. No, 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 no. Anyone here who has experience? Anyone here who can answer yes? Answer yes. Still no. No? No. Okay. Hopefully this is not going to be that hard because currently in terms of this part of financial accounting, we're going to be basically learn about hopefully it's about general ledger. During financial CO, that is next week, is going to be I'm not sure whether am I supposed to teach CEO or not. Let me prepare myself with the necessary knowledge of teaching FICO, and then we will see next week whether we're going to be learning on FICO or we're going to be skipping it. Okay, now financial accounting. Uh, Same detail over and over again. We see this in every lecture slide. The author may be different. Target audience is for beginners. Don't worry. Okay. Learning objective, we're going to define the organizational structure of FI, summarize some of the master data, standard financial accounting process, basic functionality of FI report. Okay. And also the integration point. Basically, in terms of when we talking about the final objective, that is, I'm just making it clear here during the earlier statement, the earlier slides. Recognize some of the integration point of SCP modules. Every single modules that is going to be learned inside this subject is interrelated with finance. To be clear on that. Okay, close book. Okay, these are some of the agendas. Organizational structure, we're not going to take a look at it much, but just going through some of the basics. Okay, finance is usually in term of, you want to make sure in term of the monetary matters that is happening inside the company, where the money is going in, going out, moving around inside the company, is being recorded. It's being recorded and also can be traced back to where it's originated. That is the main purpose of finance, basically. Some of the people that is supposed to be using or basically is in the scope of finance are these people here, but the most important part is basically the external part, because currently if there is future problem that is related to monetary, like say for example YNDB okay, you going to be involved with legal authorities, banks, auditors, shareholders, insurance, tax authorities, media, even the media, TV1, TV2, TV3, Astro, those kind of media, and also financial analysis. Because currently the main issue, okay, recording part, yes, it's being done inside the system, but how do you make sure that the recording part is true? Let's say for example the things that is happening inside 1MDB. Yes, everything was recorded, everything was audited, everything was being given the green light, everything was okay, but you see some of the issues that are currently is being handled by 1MDB. Those things I would call as creative accounting. That is what they are doing. They mention that they are making a lot of money, but I'm not sure where does those money going to. Yeah, maybe because currently it's still in trial, and also maybe the audit is true, there is no problem, but maybe it's the other way around. The audit is basically some creative accounting. It's not really showing the numbers correctly. The physical money really did goes into someone else's pocket. So those are some of the things that you need to be careful with, okay, because this is monetary matter, and money makes the world goes round. And also sometimes money can also be the cause of, there is a term for those people who are doing, it's being called gold fever, which means that if you see a lot of valuables, you see a lot of money, then you start to get really, I want that money. Those money are mine, even though it's 1 MDBs. Okay. So this is the part where you need to make sure that the company is balanced between their assets and also liability. Assets are basically the money that is already being invested, but also in terms of the liability, in terms of what are the credits that you are owning with the banks. Those are some of the things that you want to make sure. We are not basically, when we talk about finance, I'm guessing some of you here who has knowledge in terms of finance, who didn't answer yes inside the chat, will already know I'm not talking in terms of not explaining the overall essence of finance. So it's okay, because currently I'm also here and now I'm admitting that I'm not really good at, I don't have any, not any, my knowledge in terms of finance is not really that strong. Okay. Okay, now some of the organizational structure that is inside SAP that is being used inside the finance module. We have chart of accounts, credit control area, and also business area. This is related to SAP, not really that important yet, because currently for our scope of this subject is that we need to learn about the process, about the people involved, and also some of the data. And then this is going to be put into practice inside your case study. Okay, this is how it's being structured. Global Byte Incorporated, Germany, chart of accounts, and then you have Byte and also global credit control. Why is it being structured this way? I also cannot really explain. I really don't dare to explain more on finance. But I can basically go through some of the other processes that is related to finance in terms of SAP. It's basically FIAR, FIAP, FICO, and then a few more. FIGL, and there is another part of SAP. Okay, now the master data. This is the part where we're going to talk about the general ledger. General ledger is basically a record, a unique combination of company called a chart of account, create a data storage area called general ledger, contain a listing of the transactions affecting each account in the chart of account and respective account balance. So basically, general ledger going to be showing you how much money there is inside the company and what are the overall, I mean overall, which means there is everything, every single transaction that is related to monetary that is happening inside GBI. That is general ledger. If I'm defining the general ledger incorrectly, someone please mention it inside the chat or turn on the mic and correct me if I'm giving the explanation not really maybe wrong, or maybe not 100% accurate. Okay, now it utilizes in preparation of financial accounting statement, because currently at the end of the year, before you close account for the company, there is a part where you need to basically come up with a financial statement for that overall fiscal year, which means fiscal year, when I mention fiscal year, is basically whether the monetary matters or the monetary transaction happening during if let's say this year, which means that fiscal year is 2021. So that is general ledger, is basically a listing of every single okay, every single transaction that is happening inside the company that is related to monetary. That is what general ledger is. Another FI master data, that is this one you may be familiar, that is customer and also vendor master data, because these are the two people that is closely related to the monetary matters of GBI, because currently customer will be giving you money, and also vendor will be getting your money because you need to spend on something, and also you after you selling something, which means that you're going to be spending on something. So this will also be inside the general ledger. But if there is another part of the area, which means that you're going to be basically it's being called financial, FI account receivable, and also FI account payable, FIAR, and also FIAP. We're going to take a look at it later. Not really much on this part here. Okay, now if you look at here, for example, on this slide, customer account receivable sub ledger, FIAR. Okay, so now this part here, account receivable, when it's being used the word account receivable, which means that account, if you see here, customer 189, customer 142, customer 135, customer 123. Customer 189 is paying 100 to GBI, customer 1242, 300 to GBI, 400 to GBI, and 150 to GBI. So in terms of the general ledger, they will see it as account receivable, which means that money is coming into the company. In total, everything is basically 950 USD. So this part here is from the, if it's customer account, then which means it's originated from the sales and distribution business process. And then the next one, we have FIAP, that is financial account payable, which means that you need to pay someone. Who do you pay? Is the vendor. So here you have vendor. Okay, I know that this line, there is a meaning of this line, there is a meaning for this section and this section here, but I don't remember what. I'm guessing there is credit and also debit or something. Financial knowledge, please help me. Okay, so let's say, for example, here you see 200 is being paid to this vendor, 250, 100, and 300 is going to be paid to the vendor, and then everything will be total up inside the general ledger, 850 account payable for payment to vendor. Okay, the process itself in terms of GL is basically the part where this one we're going to be looking at in terms of the case study itself later, because currently it's not being mentioned inside the slide. So we're going to be looking at it during the lab exercise when executing the case study. We're going to be doing that during the revision. Okay, now FI reporting, basically if you want to see this, we can basically go through the system. Okay, now wait for a moment. If you want to see it, I can show you. Okay, now please make sure in terms of recording for today's attendance, please make sure you log on inside the system so that I can see it. Then listing here. Okay, now let us try to look at general ledger inside the system, because currently you already use it. Notice on whether you notice or not, you have used it, because currently document entry, let's say this one I'm going to be displaying. Okay, no, this is by document number. I would like to see the fiscal year account, display balance, maybe this one. Okay, now I'm guessing it's this one. The account number is basically 100,000. The company code is US00, fiscal year, let us see for the year 2021. So after executing, see, this is the general ledger. You can see the debit, how much is being debit, credit. I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, debit, is it money coming in or money going out? Okay, no worries. Let us see the details. Okay, 435 items. Okay, let us see the description, because currently there are a few things that is happening here. Let us see the description. No, the description is not here, but I can remember the value. Okay, so this part here, This is money coming in when you sell. This is by which ID? Can I see it? No. Or can I? Okay. So this is general ledger, money coming in. This is being executed by. Oh, this is really old. I'm going to go some place that is very a little bit new. Okay, so currently what you're seeing here is already looking at how much of the monetary is being spent. Okay, let us go with the latest. This is 6,400. 6,400 is if I'm not mistaken. This is where you buy chain locks from vendors. Okay, so let us look at who is executing this. Learn 289. So basically, this is general ledger. You basically can see general ledger, account line item display. So basically, you can see every single transaction that is happening during the fiscal year of 2021 for GL account 1000. For company code US00. For Germany, for example, just like what you have seen before this on the previous slide, there is basically two parts there. Basically, there is US and also there is Germany. Okay, now let us have a look at Germany. I'm guessing it's still the same account number because before US and Germany, there is only one box up there. So let us see Germany. Hey, there is BS00. What's that? Okay, so currently inside Germany, there is not much of a transaction that is happening. So, do not ask me what does this mean. Why there is 13? I'm not sure. I'm guessing this is supposed to be month, but there is 13. There is no such thing as the month, the 30th month of the year. Okay, I'm not sure. Anyone here care to explain why there is 1 until 13? Period. And there is nothing. I know there is period, but period of what? I know there is period, but how is being presented earlier? Let's say, for example, US00. Nope. Oops. Okay, US00. I'm guessing there is no more different account number here. Okay, let's try to search. Okay, there is a lot and I'm not sure the rest is for okay, skip that. Okay, so basically US00 for fiscal year of 2021. So basically if you notice here, this is showing you, let's say for example this is the transactioning, the different transaction that is happened during April. See, document date is during April. So for the rest, this one is, I'm guessing, March. But then what is 13? Is it ready for next year of January? Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I can assume. So that is how general ledger. Notice or not, you have currently used this during different lab exercises during SDMM and IWM. Also in terms of reporting, basically you see what I just do just now when I'm using the system is basically what I did was I'm reviewing what are the different transactions that is happening in terms of monetary and who is executing. There are a few more details that can be used. And why are all of those information is being generated inside the system? Because currently this is going to be playing a big role during the auditing sessions for a company. Okay, so this is a balance sheet. How does this, okay, you can explore this later. I'm also not really sure what does balance sheets mean, but currently here in terms of when you're going to be going through the exercise, hopefully we can see what does balance sheets actually do. If you look at here, there are breakdowns of what are the total liability, total equity, total assets, and everything. Okay, FI report, income statement of how much revenue you are making. Yes, at the end of the day, that is one of the important things that you must know. Even though you are selling bikes, you are buying chain locks, but how much money is the company is basically generating? How much revenue that you are basically generating? So you need to know your net income depending on weekly, monthly, yearly, but net income comes from here. Revenue that you are making and also the expenses that you need to be making. Revenue came from sale, expenses will basically go to the vendor. Okay, some of the costs, the operation, different breakdowns of what are basically needed to be paid or received in terms of financing. Okay, cash flow in terms of when does the cash flow is basically how does the cash um, the flow of cash basically, and then you need to basically be careful in terms of accountants and also audit trails, because currently this will need to be audited, and usually you will be executing an internal audit by people inside the company will be auditing on your accounts, and then later during the the real auditing session, there are companies from the external auditors going to be auditing your company. Some don't remember. There are a few auditing companies out there. Don't remember. It's been a while since I involved with an auditor. Okay. Document principle. This one we can skip. Okay, now FI module integrated with everything. If you look at this slide, it's related to SD, it's related to MM, it's related to PP, it's related to CO. Asset management, I'm guessing there's supposed to be something. Quality management, there is supposed to be something. Everything must have some sort of relation with finance. And then we are at the slide of innovation in S4HANA. This one we can skip. We're not going to be basically... It's not an important matter during these stages of our lecture to see some of the innovation of S4HANA. But then that's all related to finance. Okay, now, any question before we move on to the time slot, to the booking of time slot for the presentation? Okay, if there is none, then this part here, okay, I'm guessing I already mentioned that 10:40 you can start choosing. Okay, it's already 10:47. Okay, start picking your time slot. Okay, now here, cut and paste. Do not copy and paste. Cut and paste. Any time slot that is already taken here on this part here, please remove it from the options here. Okay. I noticed that this is the most unpopular time slot in the world. Everything that is the earliest part is the most unpopular. Okay, take it. Another few more. This is supposed to be running during lab session, so basically I'm guessing there is no problem in terms of if you guys having other classes, those kind of things. Okay, a few more teams that is not taken. There's something wrong. There is 2 slots empty, but there are 4 time slots that is still here. Okay, siapa punya ni? Ada yang tak delete lagi? Please delete it. And no switching. I already see it. Nanti ada orang switch kan, nanti tiba-tiba dia ambil daripada sini, dia pergi transfer pergi ke group dia, yang ni dia pergi transfer balik ke group dia. Okay, yang ni nanti sekejap lagi saya lock. Siapa lagi tak delete? Ni. Sekejap. Ni siapa punya? 2 ni. Yang pukul 4. 4 o'clock. Who is it? I don't see it here. 12 o'clock. Who is it? I also don't see it here. Which means that there are redundancy. Which one is redundant? Okay, there's one more. So this one goes to, okay, let me do this. Go into here. Okay, now how do I lock this? Meow. Can someone point me on how do I disable the editing? This part here? I know. Uh, 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 hmm. Okay, we'll look at it later. Okay, I will screenshot this so that I will screenshot this and send it inside the WhatsApp group so that this is already confirmed. We're going to be using this as we're going to be using okay we're going to be using that as the book time slot. Okay, I'm already sending it to 1B and I'm already sending it to 1A. Okay, so basically those are the time slots. We're going to be using that. Okay, so that's it for today. Before we end the class, is there any question? Any question 1? Any question 2? Any question 3? The chat is empty. Okay, if there is no question, then thank you very much. I will be seeing you guys next week during the presentation. Okay. So, okay. Thank you and goodbye.